Is that? Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay. Let's do it one more time.
Go 3, 2. Hello, everybody. We are here in midweek. We're on midweek.
Another conversation.
So this is my first time ever asking the questions and hosting, and I think it's funny because we're married in real life, so we're just naturally goofy and not serious sometimes. So I'm gonna try my best, but I'm excited to just be hosting this conversation, and really excited to just talk about some questions that I have, and just kind of getting into a little bit of conversation about the topic from this past week. But yeah,
it's weird. I'm on this side. I'm usually there. So.
I know. Should I introduce myself?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm Delia, one of the pastors here at LTL.Church, and I'm also Pastor Joeric's wife. Yeah. And and I'm hilarious. So Anyways, I just wanted to ask some questions about this past week. I know that we were talking about the topic of consistency, and I love that topic so much because I'm really bad at it. So I always love just hearing encouragement and I guess tips on how to be more consistent.
Well, let me just say, I wasn't speaking on encouragement because I'm 100% consistent. You know what I mean? I wasn't speaking on Sunday. It's you never are inconsistent. No, I'm very much inconsistent too. So this is not coming from a person
you're better at it than me, I will say. And it's just my personality too. I'm very my mind is more creative. So you're all over the place.
There may be some people watching, they're just the all in. It's you're in it, you're about it. You almost are too much all in that you make yourself sick of it. And then you're I'm done with it anymore.
It's really all or nothing syndrome.
I'm I'll just consistently do it. And if I get to, I get, but I'm consistent. So.
Yeah. So I was of course, I loved the message on Sunday, and I just loved getting to just hear from your perspective on consistency. And, I think a lot of people took that message and really just kind of were, self-reflecting and just being what areas in my life, do I need to be more consistent, and how can I be more consistent? And I know that from listening to the messages, it just kind of spurred on, more thoughts and more questions that I had. And I did want to ask you, on that topic, I know, a lot of people, and again, if you're like me, I'm very type 8 personality. If I want something, I make it happen. I am very much about the goal, the end destination. What is the result? And I struggle with falling in love with the process. Like you talked about on Sunday, I very much struggle with that because I'm so focused on the goal, and I just want to get something accomplished, or if there's something that I want to do, I want to be to that place. And so I struggle with that in between space, and I know that that's very important. And I just wanted to ask you, maybe there's people watching that are like me, and they struggle with falling in love with the process. What would you say to somebody who is very goal driven, who is very focused on the end result or the destination, if you will, and what would you say to those people about falling in love with the process and that time in between?
Well, on Enneagram, I'm an Enneagram 3, which is literally the achiever. So you're an 8 and you like control, and you like goals, but that's literally the achiever, is to achieve a goal. And it's we're all naturally a little bit within us, all goal and oriented, because we like the instant gratification. When we check off on the box, even if we have a to-do list on chores since we were kids, right? You're it's that feeling of yes, the reward is one step closer, or yes, I passed that level, and it's cha-ching, extra coins on a video game, or a new new level unlocked or something, right? It's that instant gratification. And so really consistency is always a battle of what feels good now to what actually matters later. And so that's what we're battling when it comes to staying consistent and falling in love with the process. Is falling in love with the process, we got to understand and have a realistic expectation, knowing the process is not an everyday instant gratification, I feel good at every moment. I think if we can not lie to ourselves or not let TikTok lie to ourselves, like there's so many TikToks now that, you know what I mean? Even the little ones like where people redo their refrigerators, right? It's like one clip, and they put new stuff in it. And you're like, it's in 15 seconds. Like, I can do this thing. Or they're remodeling kitchens. You're like, I can, that's literally what we've been talking about. Like, we need to remodel our kitchen. So you look at all these TikToks, I'm like, yes, but that's done in 15 seconds. Like, with my skills, this is going to take 15 years.
Right.
And, and so I immediately, I'm like.
Okay, 15 years. Like.
But I'm immediately like, this is not going to be fun, right? Like, the goal is not worth, it's just that battle. But it's because of instant gratification. I know trying to remodel a kitchen, I'm not going to have instant gratification. Why? Because there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to mess up in because I don't know it all. But if we can understand that side of like, okay, but consistency is longevity. Consistency is getting better daily, celebrating the small wins, learning from the small failures, not taking it on as identity. I think, again, that's where we can start loving the process more than, the instant gratification, because people will spend their whole lives trying to get something for 10 seconds. And after that 10 seconds, it's gone. It's lost. You're like, what was all that for? And so I think to fall in love with the process, it starts with, remembering why you're doing it. It's having a why, falling more in love with your why than your where. Falling more in love with this is why I started, then rather than, all right, you got the 6-pack, then great, what? You went to one pool party and that was it? And it's kind of like no one commented on your weight loss. Like, okay, then your whole life is shattered, right? Because you based everything off of that one goal rather than falling in love with the people you went to the gym with, falling in love with getting better every single day, right? And I also say people matter a lot when it comes to growing in the process, right? It's going to be a lot of work to redo a kitchen. But man, if we did it together, it'd be a lot easier to fall in love with that process because it's fun. There's things we're laughing at. We're making it enjoyable. So also finding people to go along the journey with you, I'd say as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just love that because, I think it's not bad to have goals and it's not bad to want to attain, the end result, because the end result is so great and it matters.
It still matters,
but I think it matters equally just as much, like the journey there. So
because you need vision. Like like no one's sitting here not to have vision, not to have dreams. That's not the answer. Like if you want to be consistent, don't have a dream. No, like you also want to know where you're going as well. Yeah. Because how many arguments have started because of not knowing where you're going to go in a car ride, right? So you want to know where and you want to know why, and allowing those two to have a healthy balance, and reminding you why you're still going to begin with.
So when you were talking about, it's important, even the people that you have along on the journey, it kind of spurred a question. I know that as, for anybody who doesn't know, Jorik and I were youth pastors for, I don't even know how many years.
5 years?
Just a couple years, about 5 years. And we would always tell the students, right? Show me who your friends are and I'll show you your future. Yeah. And I think that's very common to say to like young people. Yeah. But there's so many people, even as I, in my old age, just kidding. I was talking about earlier how I was going to be 26 and I feel like super old, but in my head, I'm still like 19. But I've seen people, even in, people that are older than me, people who have already like been in the game they're already, 40, 50. And I still see these people that haven't figured out why they've not moved past a certain point in their life. And it's like, well, look at who you're surrounding yourself with, and it's not a principle that is just exclusive to young kids or something that we tell youth or children in elementary school. But I see a lot of people that even later on in their lives that they're still trying to figure out why they are stuck, and the community that they're surrounding themselves with or the people that they're surrounding themselves with, it's not conducive to what they want. So they want a certain lifestyle, they want to be a certain way, but yet they surround themselves with, A, B, and C. Yeah. And so, can you just speak to that a little bit about, why is that so important that we, even as we're older, that we make the decisions to surround ourselves with like-minded people and people that are going where we're going ultimately?
Yeah, I think because people are very important when it comes to living a consistent life. Because, people will also, just think about it, like, again, our decisions are really determining our direction. And I just naturally think when you bring that up about people, like you think of a car ride. It's like, yeah, who do you want driving with you from here to California almost 20 hours? Who would you want in that car? You're not going to want the people that, honestly, you may not even want the people you're currently surrounded with, because you're like, I don't think I could do 18 hours with that people.
Yeah.
Well, then why do you spend the next 5 years of your life hanging out with them, right? You wonder why you haven't lost weight when the people you're always with are bringing over pizza and wings every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday night. You wonder why you haven't lost weight when they're not the ones going to the gym, but they're the ones, again, like, eating all this food and going out to eat. You wonder why you're not saving money and cutting off debt when it's your friends always hitting you up saying, hey, you want to go bowling, you want to go to the movies, you want to go shopping, you want to go, all of these things. And you wonder why, right? It's like, yeah, they matter in your life. We've seen it in our own life. And so people do matter. And that statement that you said, show me your 5 friends, I'll show you who will be in the next, 5 years. That is very true when it comes to consistent, because you'll know and be like, because where I'm going to be in the next 5 years is dependent upon what I've been consistent in, both the good and the bad things. And my friends, the people we're surrounding ourselves with, are either helping us stay consistent in these areas that are going to grow us, or keep us away. Not intentionally. They're not evil, like minions trying to no, don't get healthy. They're not thinking that. They want the best for you. And that's what's always hard, is like having people around you that want the best, but they aren't living a life that is going to help you grow and be the best you. And that's the maturing part that we all have to get at. And that still goes for whether you're 18 or 80. It's still looking at people are the people around you aren't just wishing the best for you, but they're actually living a life that when you're with them, they're helping you actually become better, and then I would say too, it also does, it's not just on people, it does fall on you as well, because yes, you will become who you surround yourself with. That is very true. But the first part of that is you attract what you initially are. So, you can't always be mad about who you're surrounded with, because your personality, who you are, your character initially attracted them. So it is like a two-way street of, yes, the people you're around, are going to matter, and it's probably making a bigger impact in your life than you think. So you got to look back and be like, who am I that attracted these people? What was it the thing? Was I inconsistent? Because inconsistency will attract inconsistency. No one that is consistent is going to be like, I want to be inconsistent. No, they're wanting to stay on track. So look at your life, right? Look at, we got to all look at our lives and think like, what did I attract? And if that's not what I'm wanting, then I need to start changing and being honest and open with those people, right? So.
Yeah. And I think I just kind of want to add on to that too, because I feel like a lot of people will just default to who they're surrounded with.
Exactly.
And, not that you have to be rude or exclusive or I'm not going to be friends. You should be kind and friendly to everybody and anybody. But I think a lot of people will just, find friends out of convenience and just and I also think a fear of being alone. And, I've heard in my life that sometimes leadership is lonely. And I know that it's not God's intention for us to be alone or to be lonely, but sometimes we're going to walk through a process where it's just us. And, I think for anybody watching, I think you could be encouraged that sometimes it's okay if you're going to walk that road alone for a little bit. You'll find your tribe, and you'll find people that are also on that road. But I think sometimes the initial journey and the initial step might have to be alone. And I think that really scares us, because we're people that don't want to be alone. We're just, and sometimes we even choose friends or relationships out of literally just pure loneliness. And, because we're humans and we desire that relationship. But I think sometimes, we might have to go through seasons where, we're alone for a little bit. So, so I think the last kind of, question on this topic that I'll ask you is, for somebody who is, might be new to faith, or they're wanting to start this journey, in their faith or with God, and they feel like they have been, I guess failing at it or not meeting the mark. Because you talked on Sunday and you said, to plan for failure. That was a part of the process when it comes to consistency and success in that. You said plan for failure. And I know that's really hard for some people because, failure is never fun. And nobody ever wants to, feel like they're missing the mark or that they didn't, accomplish something or they whatever.
Yeah.
So what would you say to somebody who, for example, you know, they're a new believer, or they're starting this journey and they're wanting to do the things that they know they should do to grow their relationship with God? Like, I want to read my Bible more. I want to pray more. I want to, you know, attend church regularly, because some people really struggle with that, you know? So what would you say to somebody who feels like they are kind of like failing in those areas and it becomes discouraging to them? So what would you say to kind of speak some truth and life into that for them?
Yeah, I mean, it's never encouraging, you know, to the person that feels like they're failing when they fail, because it's failure and it's kind of just leaves a nasty taste in your mouth. But for anyone feeling that way, or maybe not hitting the mark, so to say, in their eyes, I think they have to go back and remember the foundation in which their relationship with God rests upon. And our foundation of our faith is not that God saved us and loved us because of our good works. For God so loved the world because we read our Bibles is not the scripture. For God so loved the world that we worked really hard and we worshiped all day and night and we were really consistent that he gave his son. That's not the scripture. The basis and the foundation of our relationship and the healthiness of it is when it's lived out and knowing and understanding that, like, God loved me not because of anything I did. God loved me because he loved me. He didn't, you know, so it wasn't that we were succeeding. You know, it's just funny because it's like, you know, even when it comes to God loving us, we weren't succeeding at that point. It's not like we were like, yeah, that's someone worthy of being loved. In fact, we were the opposite. We were not worthy of being loved, but yet he still loved us. And so it takes that pressure off of when we actually, because our works do matter. Our works didn't get us saved, but they do matter. And so now, as we're saved and receive that love from God, our works are a response. And it's a process. That's a part of that process that God is transforming. And that's how we can fall in love with it. You know, we can fall in love with the works and the transformation and the daily following Christ when we remember why we were even chosen in the first place. And it wasn't because our hard work. It was because he just loved us. And so, you know, if we were failing when God chose us, I mean, the reality is, what makes you think you failing tomorrow is going to make God leave you? That's just not the case. Now, that doesn't mean it's like, hey, okay, just go sin and do whatever you want. No. Everything should now just be a response out of that moment right there. Our lives of commitment, our lives of devotion, our lives of being and staying ready when in the face of temptation are all a response from the act of God loving us when we were unlovable. And when we can remember that and be like, man, God, you must really love me a lot, we can learn, grow, and allow the mistakes to transform us and make us better. You know, and so I'd hope that would encourage some people, because it's helped me when I remember my relationship isn't based upon I'm not saved because of my works. My works matter, yes, but man, God loved me, God loved you, everyone watching, when we weren't getting it right. When we were inconsistent, God loved us. And so remembering that, like, that's just that's the basis of our faith. You know?
I love that. So, I mean, that's all. I think that's all the questions I have as far as, like, you know, just that topic of consistency. And I know, you know, you could go on for days about just everything that entails and, like, how to be encouraged in it. But I think ultimately, you know, like you said, it's just knowing those key things and, you know, and knowing that failure is not, obviously it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And, you know, it allows us to learn. You know?
Well, the reality is we are sinners. We are broken. And temptation doesn't go away when we are saved. It's still very much there. And the desire for instant gratification doesn't go away either. It's not like we're immune to sin and temptation. It is still very much there, and we still have a broken nature within us, but God has given us a new nature and transforming us, and that's what we're being transformed in, is the shedding away, the removing of our old nature, and the learning. Like, it's literally, we are born again. So, like, when we're saved, we're born again. So that's like thinking our 2-year-old daughter is like, why aren't you respectable yet? Why don't you understand being patient yet? It's like, she's 2 years old. Like why don't you know patience? You know, Joe Eric, like, why don't you know patience, right, to us adults? And so when you're born again, it's an old nature away and a new nature. God is trying to work and grow you in this new nature, the kingdom nature, the Father's love nature, the son and daughter of the king nature. And you're gonna fail. Our daughter. And that's why I love it. We don't look at her and like, you're failing, Leah. No, it's she's growing up.
Yeah.
And so, man, what if we looked at our life? What if we looked in our life and saying, I'm not failing, I'm growing up.
Yeah.
My Father's teaching me, and He's loving me through it, and He's walking me through it because I've been born again, and this is all new to us, you know, so.
Good stuff. Okay, well, I have some final questions, but I heard that the past few episodes, it's been
Own it or loan it.
Own it or loan it. Well, we're not doing that this week, okay? I'm hijacking it because I had some questions that I really wanted to ask you because I know you very well. So I wanted to ask you questions that would really make you like...
To expose me.
Yes, to expose you. No, just kidding. So the first question is...
Does this have a title? Does this segment have like a title? Like, do you have a...
No.
Could it just be like Own It or Loan It remix or something?
Own It or Loan It 2.0.
2.0.
Okay. So, all right. For those of you who don't know, Joe Eric is a lover of Funko Pops. He loves to collect Funko Pops, and he's obsessed. Every time we go to Target, he has to go to the Funko Pop section to go look at the new ones. So, out of all of the Funko Pops that you own, if you could only pick one to keep, you had to throw the rest away, get rid of them, you can only keep one, which one would it be? And why?
Oh man, I honestly, probably one of the Mickey Mouse ones, probably the Fantasmic one. Got it for Christmas from my sister and her boyfriend, so probably that one. I love Mickey Mouse with Disney, so probably that one.
Okay.
That's throwing away my Lion King ones and Harry Potter and Iron Man.
Oh my gosh.
I keep Mickey Mouse.
Even Dumbledore in front of the Hogwarts castle?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I keep Mickey Mouse.
Okay. Second question is, we know that, well, you guys might not know, but I know that you love to read. Mm-hmm. Up until this point, because I know you've read a lot of books, up until this point, what has been your favorite book? And it could be whatever, fiction, nonfiction, leadership, or just, what's your favorite book that you've ever read?
Oh, the Bible? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Like,
boo. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not booing the Bible. I'm saying
I don't know.
Not fun
there's so many good ones. I love leadership. I love spiritual growth ones. So I think it's actually John Mark Comer was the most recent one that I read, and it's like mind blowing. I think it's Tell No Lies, I believe, is the book. It's a really awesome book on just the flesh, Satan, and the world, and just understanding of how to live a life of not falling to those things, but being transformed by the Holy Spirit. So I think Tell No Lies by John Mark Comer.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And the final question, and I feel like this is going to be the hardest one, I did it on purpose. If you could only pick one person, I'm going to give you two people, but if you could only pick one of them to sit down and have lunch with, or dinner, or brunch, whatever you want.
Alive?
They're both alive.
I can pick two people.
No, I have the people. Like, you pick one of the people that I'm about to say. Would it be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, or would it be Derek Jeter?
Probably where I'm at this moment, probably Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's
Derek Jeter. If you're watching this live stream,
you ever get to see this
I'm
man?
never coming to LTL Church. Derek Jeter.
Hey, but The Rock, you very much can. No, probably The Rock, just to learn from him what he's doing in this place. I love the guy.
Did you know? I did not know this, but The Rock is the highest paid actor right now. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I think it was like 80. I could be wrong. It was like 89.2 million or something crazy. Like, that's insane.
Is he the People's Champion? Is that his name? He's the People's Champion.
Yeah, of course
in the
he
ring
is.
and outside of the ring.
And outside the ring, baby.
He's literally the owner of XFL, which we have a team coming in San Antonio. 2023. I'm gonna go try out.
Yeah, he's the man.
Just to meet him. Me and Sly are gonna go try out just to meet the guy.
And imagine y'all make it.
All right, water boy.
Right?
I'm all in it.
The chaplain. You make the team.
The chaplain.
The chaplain.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been fun. It's been a lot of fun. How do we end this?
Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Okay, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like and share this video because maybe this content will help somebody. And maybe The Rock or Derek Jeter might come to LTL.Church. So, but we love you guys, and we will see you next week for... What is
another
this called?
midweek conversation.
Another midweek conversation.